Good afternoon. Very good response. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed your lunch, friendships around your tables, and we invite you to obviously feel free to enjoy the lovely dessert. Pass it around if you haven't already at your table, and enjoy that as well as your beverages as we begin our presentation to this year's YWCA Women of Excellence. Our first honoree to be recognized is Deb Oexmann. Deb's childhood days of literally hanging out at the Smithsonian with her mother and spending time with her father in the woods helped shape a life of dedication to the outdoors and wildlife. These experiences led her to Miami University and Miami County's Bruckner Nature Center, where an internship opened a door to a career in environmental education and awareness. 30 years later, she is the Nature Center's executive director, a role she's held since 2008. Joan Heidelberg, Bruckner Nature Center's director emeritus, said of Deb's accomplishments, she has developed and taught the love of nature and the importance of protecting it to thousands of school children and adults as well. Anyone who knows Deb knows that when it comes to being environmentally conscious, she doesn't just talk the talk, she walks the walk. Born in Florida to Rita and Norval Oexmann, she remembers watching the Gemini space launches with her father as he worked in a program for the Air Force. She spent hours in the woods and water shadowing him while hunting and fishing in off hours. When the family moved for her father's work at the Pentagon, she recalled those visits with her mother to the Smithsonian. She reminisced by saying, "I think that helped shape a lot of who I became. I kind of had it in my head I wanted to be like Jane Goodall." I've always loved being outdoors. Another move to Kettering, Ohio, when her father was assigned to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, saw her graduation from Fairmont East High School and then studying environmental science at Miami University in Oxford. The search for a master's program internship led her to Bruckner Nature Center and longtime directors Joan and the late Bob Heidelberg. Later, Joan hired her as a teacher naturalist. That's a natural move, isn't it? Modestly, Deb said, it worked out well. And Deb, all of us in this room agree. You then took over as executive director on the occasion of Joan Heidelberg's retirement, and the center has continued to grow under your leadership, undergoing a complete renovation, including a most recent new wildlife quarantine building. Deb is a member of Rotary, enjoys traveling and naturally bird watching, was one of the creators of Teen Leadership Troy, volunteers at the Troy Soup Kitchen, and is active in Partners for the Environment, a group focusing on the Great Miami River watershed. It is still fun. I still have things I want to do, said Deb, who lives on the center grounds with husband Richard Wagar, and additionally praises the center's directors, staff, volunteers, and visitors for its continued success. Her advice to women today is to do things their own way. Quoting her, "You will get a lot of advice, but you don't have to take it all. Trust yourself and stay true to the path you want to take." Excellent advice. And we see, Deb, that you have taken your advice to heart. Perhaps we'll see you in the weeks to come on one of those literal paths in the woods. This time not with your dad, but with friends at Bruckner or one of us in this room. And now, we salute you today and extend our congratulations as we present you with the YWCA Women of Excellence Award. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Deb Oexmann.
Thanks, Terry. Appreciate that. So I grew up in Kettering, Ohio. As Terry said, my dad's shadow as we hiked the woods and bet quarters on who could catch the biggest fish. I was a second grader flying down the street with a squirrel tail streaming from my banana seat. I went to college at Miami University, driven to be the next Jane Goodall, weren't we all? And then I landed an internship at Bruckner Nature Center, and the rest, they say, is history. I was hooked. Life in a nature center filled with teachable moments with kids, amazing wildlife encounters, and opportunities to travel. I can't imagine doing anything else, even after 30 years. All of you probably know that awards like these are given to individuals, but they really honor the achievements of a team. And I'd like to take a minute to thank my team, my parents who patiently raised that wild child. You have no idea. Joanne Heidelberg, my career mentor and friend, who taught me the value of inspiring people, especially kids, about the natural world. My board members who trust my judgment and have my back. My staff who helped me realize my dreams. And my husband who, well, is always there. I'd also like to thank Rita Hollenbacher for nominating me for this honor, and of course the YWCA for supporting and empowering women in Miami County. I hope throughout my career I have done the same. Thanks so much.
Our next honoree to be recognized is Lorna Swisher, who never dreamed a part-time, short-term job with Main Street Piqua organization would become a career she's loved for more than 20 years. Serving as the executive director of this downtown advocacy organization, she said she loves her work, and those around her said it shows. Lorna came to Piqua in 1985 as a Rotary Exchange student from, hold on to your hat, Zimbabwe, living with host family Del and Dory Perry, who became family. She attended Edison Community College and then Grove City College in Pennsylvania, graduating in 1980 with a degree in communication arts. Using these talents, she worked briefly in the Public Relations Department at the Upper Valley Medical Center and for 5 years with WPTW Radio in Piqua. Remember how I said she was hired to do a part-time job with Main Street Piqua? That was in 1997, and here we are today, benefiting from Lorna's talents for 22 years in her part-time to full-time job. She shares these comments. No 2 days are the same. I love the variety. It stretches me creatively and professionally. Her duties might include talking with a potential new downtown business, working with the beautification committee, coordinating volunteers for any number of events, or partnering with the city on another project or promotion. Bill Lutz, executive director of the New Path Incorporated and former City of Piqua employee, said, Lorna exemplifies servant leadership. Her entrepreneurial spirit is advancing a cause greater than herself. She expends her energies to make Piqua, I love this part, a hometown for everyone, each and every day. If you know Lorna, her warm and engaging spirit is the epitome of excellence, Bill concludes. Lorna herself credits many people willing to give time and energy with helping her make her job a success. As she shares, I surround myself with really good people. That helps. We agree. Lorna said Dory Perry played a key role in her life, with other major influences coming from former Piqua Chamber leader Lisa Whitaker, Lisa Baker of the YWCA, Main Street Piqua volunteer Ruth A. Kuhn, and the late Cheryl Stiffel Francis. Lovingly, she said much credit goes to her husband, Tom Swisher, and daughters Savannah and Sarah, noting her daughters have helped with Main Street activities since they were toddlers, and of course, Tom is on hand whenever needed. She enjoys playing tennis with Tom, baking, cooking, reading, walking the family dog, and being proud of both Savannah, who is a graduate in architectural engineering from the University of Cincinnati, and Sarah, who is studying marketing at Wright State University. The woman inside Lorna says, if you want to change something, you have to get involved. That is something I really have impressed on my kids. You have to be part of the solution. You can't just be a whiner on the sidelines. Now, the really wise woman inside Lorna says, and I quote, Show up, work hard, be true to yourself, and don't let the turkeys get you down. They will try. Yes, Lorna, we take your words to heart and honor your commitment. This is your moment as we present to you the YWCA Women of Excellence Award. Ladies and gentlemen, Lorna Swisher.
Oh boy. Let me begin by thanking the YWCA and the Women of Excellence Committee for this recognition. I am so very humbled and very thankful to you. To be honest with you, I never thought of myself as a woman of excellence. I thought of myself as a get her done woman, a let's all work together to get this happening woman, and on a bad day, that did not exactly go as planned woman. When Lisa Baker notified me that I'd been selected as a woman of excellence, I was quite frankly floored. I have been blessed to attend this luncheon for a number of years, and I have always been in awe of the women who have received this recognition. And to be selected and nominated is beyond humbling. As you look through the list of past honorees, it is truly a list of the mothers of Miami County. These women in their special fields have all contributed to the amazing quality of life that we experience in this county and have brought excellence to their careers, their passions, and their volunteer duties. These women showed up every single day to do what was right and good, reinforcing the expression, the world is run by those who show up. The more time I spend with successful and talented people, the more I realize they are normal people like you and I. The common thread appears to be that they showed up every day, every night, every weekend, even when no one would have noticed if they didn't. When it comes down to the truly impressive people I know, they are people that do what is needed, what is right, without ever being asked and potentially without ever being noticed for it. I appreciate being honored for the work that I love to do in the community that I love. I show up for downtown Piqua every day, whether it's a day in the office, a special event day, or even the day that we had a tornado warning during the duck drop. Thank you for paying me for actually doing this. I was able to do it because I have a husband who loves and supports me. Thank you, Tom. 2 amazing kids who have been put up with being voluntold to do all kinds of things, literally, since they were toddlers. Thank you, Savannah and Sarah, for making me a better person. Thank you to my mom, Dory Perry, who knew that I needed to be an American even before I did. I am also blessed with an amazingly supportive community, board, and volunteers, all of whom want me to show up every single day and show up for this community. A huge thank you to my board members and staff who are here to support me, and thank you all for letting me show up for the Piqua community. Thank you.
Now I will share the accomplishments of the 2019 Young Woman of Tomorrow honoree, Cassidy Hemm. Cassidy isn't afraid to share her leadership skills. That willingness is evident in activities as a student at Miami University in Oxford, where she is beginning her senior year. A Piqua native, Cassidy attended Piqua Catholic schools and Sidney Lehman High School. A senior majoring in strategic communication and public health, she is the daughter of Susan Walker Hemm and Jeff Hemm. Cassidy has a wide variety of qualities many leaders can only hope to have, said Claire Coyne, a 2019 Miami University graduate in business who worked alongside her in college. Her impact on Miami University's campus has been significant, and the university as a whole is a better place because of her continuous efforts in so many areas. High praise. Among Cassidy's activities at Miami are serving as student leadership coordinator at the Wilkes Leadership Institute, where she works in leadership development programming for underclassmen, including peer coaching, peer facilitating, and workshops. She also serves this year as the executive chair of the Miami University Student Foundation, which is the Alumni Association's student arm overseeing multiple committees of 75-member student organizations. This volunteer position is, she admits, very time-consuming but satisfying, and she works to create better collaboration among the university's student organizations. Cassidy is also active in Greek life as a member of Alpha Omicron Pi, and this next organization she's the chair of could be an 8-letter acronym that I think you said was CSCAP, but I'm going to attempt to say it all. She's the chair of the Council for the Advancement and Support of Education-Affiliated Student Advancement Professionals District Cabinet. A mouthful! After taking a breath, I will go on. Among other activities are volunteering for Hospice of Miami County, serving on the University Honor Student Advisory Board and Student Faculty Relations Committee. She also completed an internship this past summer with CareSource of Dayton, and all I can say is, wow. Commenting on her life and activities, Cassidy said, "I think being passionate about areas I am studying helps me to kind of keep things in check and in balance." She also encourages other young people to give areas of possible interest a try by saying, then hone in on the things you want to further develop, whether professional or something you're really passionate about. Figure out how to get a good balance of each of those parts of your life. Well, Cassidy, speaking for myself, and perhaps for many of the people in this room supporting you today, the good and healthy balance you suggest is the key. We promise to take your advice, and now we will honor you and wish you the best in all future endeavors. I invite everyone to put your hands together and join me in welcoming to the podium the YWCA Young Woman of Tomorrow, Cassidy Hemm.
Thank you. I'm deeply honored to have been selected for this year's Young Woman of Tomorrow Award recipient. I'm appreciative to the YWCA and all of the hard work and planning that their team has put into making this recognition a reality. When I was younger, it never occurred to me that my character was being shaped as I excitedly ran around the trails at the Bruckner Nature Center, nor did I see that impact when I found the perfect trinket to bring home to my mom from Christmas on the Green. Being able to stand beside the individuals that made each of those events possible truly means a lot to me. I am honored today to be considered part of a group of successful women recognized, and to Lorna and Deb, thank you for changing lives every day through your work. The characteristics that you both exemplify on a daily basis shapes young leaders even though they might not fully understand yet what is happening. It is challenging for me to fully express my gratitude for this recognition today because I've had so much support in many aspects of my life. Growing up in a close-knit community, it was easy for me to learn from individuals across the community and find role models in each of my involvements. I'm thankful that I attended a high school that instilled in me the value of getting involved and allowed for me to do so through academic extracurricular, sports, and music. I do not think I would have taken so many risks during my time at Miami getting involved had I not had the chance to extend myself in many different directions growing up. I really have had a great experience during my time at Miami, and of course, I've stayed busy. I think some of the things that I've learned that I take away the most, that have the most impact on me, is just the value of finding a community and getting yourself involved in making sure that you're able to share those experiences, not only with my peers, but bring those back home and share that with my family as well. So finally, I just wanted to thank all of my family and all of the family friends who are more like family to me and have really helped me in all aspects of my life to grow as a young leader, but also continue to support me throughout my time as at college and as I go forward into my professional career. So thank you, everyone. Oh, this way.
Congratulations to all of you. We're very proud of you. It is a pleasure to introduce our special guest for this afternoon. Jenny Lewis feels we all have the ability to make a difference in another person's life, so community service is important to her. She served as the first board chair of Pink Ribbon Girls and is active in the Dayton Rotary Club. In her professional life, as president and CEO of Miami Valley Hospital Foundation and Good Samaritan Foundation, she is active in many fundraising organizations. Jenny was named Outstanding Fundraising Professional, Dayton's Top 40 Under 40, Women in Business Networking's Top 25 to Watch. Jenny has had many people in her life that served as mentors. She truly feels that she is the person she is today because of the people that have encouraged, pushed a little, and believed in her. Jenny, in return, mentors women in business networking, mentors for them, and also serves as a junior achievement teacher. In her personal life, Jenny looks forward to playing Mrs. Santa Claus every year. So you can imagine maybe she's mentored an elf or two. I don't know that. Jenny strongly believes everyone has a story, and sharing your story can make a significant impact on another person's life. I have personally witnessed this. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a woman of excellence in her own right, Jenny Lewis.
So good afternoon, everyone. There we go. You're still awake. So I want to start out by thanking Lisa and the Y for inviting me to speak today. It is truly a pleasure and an honor to speak to you. So I am going to say a couple of thank yous as well to my Premier Health family. Thank you for being here, Joanna and Becky and all the folks over here at Premier Health. I've had the honor of working there for the last 32 years. I was 12 when I started, in case you're trying to figure that out. And my very dear friend and colleague, Kathy Scarborough, who just retired last year. It's really wonderful to have her in the room. As Lisa said, we met just a little less than 2 years ago. And we met through a very dear lady, Rosie Weinert in the back. And I know she's sitting back there, but she is a very special lady. And I don't believe in coincidence. I don't know if you do, but I think there's a greater meaning behind things. And I think it was meant to be for me to meet Rosie and also to meet Lisa. I want to talk to you today about just a couple things, and I know that if you're like me, I could leave right now because these three individuals who were honored, I mean, their speeches and their stories are really powerful, and I want to make sure that I congratulate Deb and Lorna and Cassidy on all that you're doing and the difference that you're making, and what you talked about really ties in a little bit to what I'm going to talk about today. I'm not going to keep you for the next hour because, again, we could leave right now and we'd all be inspired and feel really good. I'm going to take about 10 or 12 minutes, and I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. The first thing that I would like to ask you is, and there's about 150 people in this room, do you know your story? And are you vulnerable enough to share your story? Are you able to tell your story? Because let me promise you that every single one of us, we all have a story to share. The second question that I'm going to ask you is, what impact are you making on the world? These ladies are truly making a difference, and I promise you that each and every one of us has the opportunity to make an impact. So what's my story? Well, my story starts with this little girl who was born into a family with 2 deaf parents. So I was raised in a home that was silent. My mom didn't hear me cry. They didn't hear the doorbell ring or the phone ring. They didn't get to hear my brother play the piano on stage. Their world was silent. So I grew up in this home where I was the ears and the voice of our family. From the time I could talk, I don't know if you remember when appliances were turquoise, we had this turquoise phone on the wall, and our dining room chair was pushed up against the wall, and I would crawl up the chair and answer the phone as soon as I could talk. I interpreted for my parents. I helped them at 6 buy a car and negotiate the price. I interpreted all the way through until the end of my dad's life when he had mouth cancer, and I served as his interpreter when I had to tell him it was the end. Hardest thing I've ever done. But that's a little bit about my story. Do you know yours? And are you willing to share it? I believe in the village because, as Lisa said, it took a village to raise me. I lived in this silent world with the deaf community, but then there's this great, big hearing world out there, right? The deaf community sometimes gets forgotten because they look just like us. They just don't hear anything. Sometimes we forget that we need to get an interpreter for them, or we need to recognize that they might be here and we need to think about them. But then this big hearing world that we're all in, and I have to make sure that I know my place in both. So I had this village who helped raise me. My grandparents checked on me each and every day. My aunts and uncles pushed me and encouraged me. My teachers were there for me. The parents of my friends knew my situation and would help me. So are you part of a village? Is there someone who needs you today and needs you to step up? And do you recognize that if it comes across your day? The second question is, what impact are you making? We make choices each and every day, and let me tell you this, 35,000 choices. If you believe what the internet says, I Googled, okay, choices, what do we make? 35,000 a day. That's a lot of decisions and choices we make every day. So I guess it's really natural for us. I don't know about you, but by the time it's time to go to dinner, if we're going out and somebody says, hey, where do you want to go? I'm like, I don't care. I'm just really kind of tired of making decisions by that point, so go ahead. 35,000 choices each and every day. I guess it starts with, do you hit the snooze button or do you get up, right? So our choices are little, our choices are big, but when you're making a choice, do you really think about how that choice is going to impact your life 10 years from now? Probably not. I don't. 10 minutes from now? Yeah, maybe. But not 10 years from now. I don't always think about that, right? The choices that we make don't only impact us, but they impact our family and the people around us. And we have a choice, right, to make a difference or not. And we don't know when we make that first choice how it's going to land 10 years from now. And I'm going to talk about a dear friend, Heather Salazar. I hope you know her. She's a pretty phenomenal lady, and she is my dear friend. Her choice started with, do I help this lady with transportation to her appointments because she has breast cancer? That's how it all started. She was at church at Kinghamsburg, and she heard that this lady needed help. She had a baby, and she needed transportation to her doctor's appointment. And Heather said, yes, I will help her. Her second choice was, this lady said, I need somebody to take care of my baby because I'm not going to make it. And Heather chose, she and her husband Steve, to adopt Lexi. Fast forward a year, Heather has breast cancer. Heather's in her 30s and she has breast cancer. And Heather did a self-exam because Lexi's mom died of breast cancer. And Heather would never have thought that she would get breast cancer at 30 unless she knew Lexi's mom who had breast cancer. And she did her self-exam, and that's how she found the lump. And after that, Heather decides, I don't want anything to do with cancer. I don't want anybody to know. I don't want to talk about it. And then she comes in contact with Pink Ribbon Girls. And they're giving out gift cards and flowers. And she says, oh no, there's something bigger here. and Heather accepts the choice of living her purpose. And now Heather is the president of Pink Ribbon Girls, and they support this community and communities all around the country with hundreds of thousands of meals and transportation and support. And all because you go back to that first choice that she made. Do I help this lady with transportation or not? Because she could have said no. When you think about it, when you make a choice, you can say no, right? That's, I don't believe that there are coincidences, but I do believe that we have choice. We are given the opportunity to make a choice. Deb and Cassidy and Lorna made choices to make a difference. So here's something that's a little bit more, I'll bring it home, and something that happened this weekend in our family. And this is a smaller choice, right? Because Heather made a choice, and then it ended up just blossoming, and this big choice happened, right? She becomes president and helps all these people. Here's a smaller choice. So I come from a family from Appalachia. My grandfather was a minister, and our family is a singing family. Southern gospel music, that's what we do. And every family reunion, that's what we sing. Good or bad, we're singing as loud as we can. So my grandfather died, and one of my great uncles passed, but I had a great uncle who led the group, and he was very sick. And just a few weeks ago, and I missed Pink Ribbon Girls event this year because I was at the family reunion, I knew that my uncle was sick, and we could potentially have this as our last family reunion, so I chose to go. He sang, Uncle Russ sang until he could sing no more. And after that day, he went to sleep and was unconscious and not really responsive. And I knew that a few years ago I had taken, they made records in the 60s, so I had their 45s. I was blessed enough to get those, right? And so I had those put on CD. And I put the CD in, and it sounded like a mouse. They were very mousy, and I knew that wasn't how they were supposed to sound, but when they transferred it over, it was really high-pitched and really, really fast, and so I really couldn't pass that on, right? But I knew Uncle Russ was sick, so I called my son, and we have two sons, Justin and Josh, and Justin's in town, so I called him and said, hey, I need your help. This is last Saturday. Uncle Russ isn't doing well. I'd really like to just have these records transferred and try to get something over to my cousins and my uncle and aunt and so on. And so Justin says yes after I bugged him a few times. He's 25, so on a Saturday it's not the most important thing for him to spend the day with his mom, right? But he's a great kid. So he's like, okay, so we spent the whole afternoon, and then finally he just said, Mom, just let me do this. I'm like, okay. So he's a DJ, so I said, please take it down a couple notches. So he goes home and he texts me and he goes, here you go. So I've got all 6 of their songs on my phone, and I can send it to my cousins. So I choose to send it out. Here's a little gift, everybody. Hope you enjoy it. So on Tuesday morning, I get a call from my Uncle Russ's daughter, Donna. And she said, I don't know if you know, but Dad passed away yesterday. And she said, I just want you to know, she said, he wasn't doing well at all. She said he was having a really, really rough time and a rough day, his last day. And she said, we just couldn't get him to calm down. So his wife left, and Donna and her son and her sister Glenda and her son were in the room, and Donna had just gotten this music from me on Saturday night late, and she said, I'm just going to turn this music on for Dad. And I'll tell you what, he loved hearing that quartet sing, even though he was the lead. He thought they were the best. And so she said, I'm just going to turn this on. So she turned the music on, and she said, Jenny, there was a miracle that happened in that room. She said, Dad calmed down completely. She said, unresponsive for weeks, and now all of a sudden he's got a smile on his face, and he's leading that choir. He's leading that quartet. She said, I want to thank you for sending that. And I said, no, I want you to know it was Justin. Justin took the time and said yes to help me convert this and to get it to you. And she said, will you please tell Justin
that the decision he made to help you allowed my daddy to have a more pleasant last day on earth? And I said, absolutely. So here I am, texting Justin, and you really made a difference. And I say that to ask you to please remember the choices that we make, big or small, make a difference and really do make an impact. Justin didn't have to help me that day. Could have said, no, Mom, let's do it another day. I don't have time. No, Mom, you keep bugging me about this. I don't want to do this. But you know what? It made a difference when he said yes. My Uncle Russ got to relax a little bit and his transition was smoother. What's your story? Can you tell your story? Are you willing to be part of someone's village? Step up and help someone who needs to hear it? What impact are you making on the world today? And what choices are you making that truly do have an impact? Thank you so much for listening to me today. You have been an amazing audience. I would just ask you to remember that to the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be their whole world. God bless you.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for being here, and thank you for that message. Our YWCA is celebrating our 100th year. We were founded to meet the needs of the young women working in the numerous undergarment industries in town. Wholesome activities were needed in a community that seemed to have a bar on every corner. A goal was set to raise $10,000 to operate the YWCA for 2 years. Well, $17,000 was raised in just 3 days. We want to recognize our founding president, Lucy Patterson. She certainly exemplified the characteristics of a woman of excellence in 1919. At this time, I would like to recognize our past recipients of the YWCA Women of Excellence Award. I would ask that those in attendance please stand as I read your name and remain standing. Cheryl Beaker. Lenita Casey Wagner. Sister Virginia Shear. Rita Hollenbacher. Ann Baird. Linda Vercelles. Jean Heath. Cheryl Fox Bender. Sandra Christian. Jenny Beamish. Terry Nas. Susie Wise. Rebecca Rice. Stacy Scott. Nancy Bowman. And Ruth Kuhn. Thank you, ladies. The Women of Excellence program is successful because of the hard work and tremendous support of many individuals. I encourage you to read the names of our sponsors and contributors listed in your program booklet. I extend a sincere thank you to our benefactors. We appreciate each gift or service that you have provided. At this time, we would like to recognize our patrons, Cheryl and Jack Neuenschwander, for their direct financial support to this year's Women of Excellence program. Thank you. Many have supported the YWCA Women of Excellence program, many since the very beginning 23 years ago. This support allows us to continue to encourage and recognize the excellent women in Miami County. We are also grateful to Mike Underwood Photography Studio
for providing the beautiful photos of our honorees. We thank all of you for your generosity. I would also like to thank the members of the various committees in the Women of Excellence program and the staff of the YWCA. Their continuous dedication ensures our success. Please note their names in your program booklet also. And finally, on behalf of the YWCA, I will thank all of you for attending this event. Your support allows us to continue our purpose, striving to create opportunities for women's growth and leadership. You may have noticed the sweet treat at your place. This is a token of our appreciation. Emma Button said, "Be sweet, be good, and be honest always." Please enjoy. Thank you again for attending and joining us today. We look forward to seeing you next year as we honor the excellent women of Miami County. Thank you.